Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We'll give it just a minute to click on to connect so folks can get into this conversation and we can dialogue. Hey, hey, good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, beautiful people. I hope that you are all well and together and moving and focused this morning. So good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hey gang, how's it going? It's your girl Sheree Robin. We live and live in color on this wonderful Writing Wednesday. Good morning, beautiful. Good morning, folks. As you jump in and join into this conversation, please make sure that you say good morning because I want to talk just for a moment, right? Just for a little bit of time this morning about what it really takes to run a writing, coaching, and publishing company, right? What does it really take? So I want to share that with you this morning and hopefully give you some insight and some information as to what this really involves in this space, right? As an editor, what does that really look like for me and for the day to day in my life? So I'll share with you early this morning that it's not even 9:30 yet, or it's just 9:30, right? It's just 9:30 in the morning. Good morning. Happy Winning Wednesday to you too, beautiful. Good morning. Good morning. So we early with it, right? Some people just getting their first cup of coffee. Some people are just like getting situated at their desk. They're actually just getting started on their day. But I want to tell you, right, the real behind this thing. Right now, right, I am overseeing, as an editor, I am overseeing at least, let's see, one, that's two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11 projects right now, right? That's what I have my hands in. That's what I have my hands in. 11 book projects, right? That is what I have my hands in over top of the team, the literary bees, right? That's what is going on over there. Sheree Robin alone has quite a few. I have at least 3 projects, solo projects that I'm working on, right? So that's 11, 3, that's 14. That's 14 book projects that require my attention, my supervision, my review, my critique, my detail, my whatever that is, right? Whatever those projects require. So when I say that behind the scenes, editors are working for you, baby, I'm not playing no games. When I tell you we are working for you behind the scenes. My first call at 8 o'clock this morning was to go through these particular manuscripts that our editors are working on, to take a look at the progress that our writers are making. So we're looking at fiction writers, making sure that their plots are consistent, that their characters are well developed, that the storyline makes sense, right? That's one component in our one piece of the fiction puzzle, right? We're also in nonfiction making sure that the writer has a strong hand on their story, that they're positioning themselves well, that their outlines make sense, that the content that they're trying to teach is clear and consumable. So I've got my hands in 14 different book projects. When I tell you it is not a game, it is not a game. And the work that we do behind the scenes is so specific and intentional, like extremely specific and intentional. So we are taking, and when I say we, I'm talking about my senior editor, Chanel, whose birthday is today. Shout out to Chanel. She's a Virgo. So spending time every few days with Chanel going through all of the projects that we have in-house. Good morning. Good morning. So this is the work, right? This is the work because when we see an issue, when we see a hiccup or a flaw, right? These are things that have to be adjusted and corrected in real time, right? In real time. And this is why when you work with other agencies or people work with book publishing companies, they always say, oh, go get an editor, right? Write your book, put down what it is that you want to share, and then go get an editor. And my team and I'll be like, why are you waiting? Why do you wait until you do this massive brain dump, or you go upon suggestion of someone who's never written a book before or who has had an editor or a ghostwriter write their book before, and you're relying on them to teach you how to write? And it ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. They're going to refer you to an editor. And so an editor's job is real. And I'm talking about meticulously, seriously real. We have a writer right now who we had to pump the brakes on. Stop, sis. You cannot go forward in what it is that you're trying to execute, because we have to get some clarity. We need to understand in this manuscript who is in control of the story. We have to have your point of view clear. We have to know who's the narrator, right? We have to understand the plot and what's going to move us from one chapter to the next. We have to have these things clearly laid out before you can just go start writing. Because if you just go start writing and you just wilding out and just putting whatever on the page, the amount of revising and rewriting that you're going to have to do is going to kill you, right? It is going to kill you. You're going to be devastated. I'm talking about it's going to hurt your feelings in a whole lot of ways. So we try to avoid that. We try to prepare you for that. So instead of just going at it and you just doing whatever your heart desires because your creative energy and your juices is flowing, right? Instead of that, why don't you let somebody teach you how to do this the right way? So when I say that my team and I spend hours at this, I'm talking hours, right? Like you're not alone. So our writers have the editor, right? So if you're working with myself or my team, you have a bae, right? You are directly connected to your bae. Your bae is your person. They are your point of contact. They give you direction. Your bae then reports to our senior editor, right? That's Chanel. Bae is reporting to Chanel. Boom. Chanel's overseeing everything. If there's an issue, Chanel, like this, Sheree, you need to come take a look at this. Here's what's going on. So every 2 to 3 days, I'm getting updates, progress reports, status reports on 14 different book projects. Hear me when I tell you. It is not for the faint of heart. Some people are like, oh, I want to get into this. I want to get into publishing. I'm like, are you going to teach them how to write? You gonna teach them how to get the book done, or you just going to tell them to dump it out and go ahead and stick it up on Amazon and wish them the absolute best? Because that is what so many people do. Just write whatever you want and now it can just go up on Amazon. And so I just want to tell you or share with you, bring some insight to this conversation today, that it is real. Running a writing publishing company is real, right? The work that's required is real. You need to know your stuff. You need to be able to teach people how to write, not just tell your story. Well, what happened to you, right? What we've realized, and as an editor, I get this inside information. I get this access. What we realized is that people are often writing from places of fear, right? They're writing from places of pain, of things that they have suppressed and pushed down and hidden and tucked away in some small box that they don't want anybody to get to. But if you're a nonfiction writer and you're trying to change lives out here, then we got to open up that box. We got to bust that bad boy wide open and get to the heart of what's really motivating you or inspiring you. And that takes work. And if you're not an editor, if you're just, someone who put a book up on Amazon and you wrote a book and you worked with an editor, then there are things that you won't know about the writing process. There are things that you don't comprehend and understand. So I spend so much of my time being that support, right? Being that person that can look at your manuscript, that can look at your outline and say, this isn't making any sense, right? That's one of the things that we do in the program that I run. It's your outline. You got to have your outline. And this is speaking for nonfiction writers. I need to know what you're writing about. And I need to know how you're going to write about it. Right? How are you going to move me from concept to a concept, from story to story, from idea to idea? How you plan on executing that? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see what you're doing in here. Let me see if this makes any sense. Let me see if this is sound and logical. Is it clear? Is your audience going to take away what you intend for them to take away in this conversation? Do you have a strong handle on what it is that you're presenting? And oftentimes they don't. And the beautiful thing is, like, that's okay. Like, that's more than okay, because you don't know. You're brand new writer. You don't know how to handle your story. You don't know what's the most important part that you should put in here. You don't know how to get a chapter going or to conclude a chapter. This is all brand new for you, right? So when I say that we are at work behind the scenes, baby, I ain't lying to you. I ain't playing no games with you. I ain't being 100% transparent, honest with you. As you can see, I'm got my filter over here, but this is my tired face. This is working. We are working consistently and constantly around the clock to absolutely ensure and to guarantee that our writers are kicking booty and taking names. And that's fiction and nonfiction. is not for the faint of heart. So we spent, like I said, we spent time this morning going over somebody's plot. We spent time this morning taking a look at another fiction writer's stuff and looking at their character development. So if your character has these certain elements in your character, these are things that we should see throughout the manuscript, right? They shouldn't just pop up every now and again. If these are specific character flaws or details that are vital to your character, then we should see these things throughout the development and the progression of your manuscript. So you can't just go write it. Let's build it first. Let's put it in there first, right? So good morning again. As you join in, please make sure that you say good morning. And if you'd like to take a moment and shout out where you're hanging out from, as always, I rep Philly all day. But I am, I'm true and true Philly John, living in the A. Don't ask me why, just pray for me. But in this space, in this work that I get to do, wherever I am, that's the beauty of living this literary life, is that I can do this beachside, coffee table side, whatever. I can do this work. I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm thankful to be in these spaces with these writers to really see what the hiccups are, to really see what the issues are. So if you have an editor, or if you're looking to work with an editor, I want you to look for somebody who's going to be invested in you, who's going to be invested in your success, in you learning how to be a better writer, right? Not just marking up your manuscript and wishing you well. Or what most people are looking for is a ghostwriter, essentially, right? You're looking to dump out whatever and then have an editor fix all of it. I tell people all the time, I can't fix your writing, right? I can't go in and write for you, especially if I don't understand what the hell you trying to say in the first place. So I have to ask you critical questions. We have to do a deep dive into what it is that you want, what it is that you see. And a lot of times I find myself putting the responsibility back on you as the writer, right? So they will get questions like, well, which one should I choose? Which point of view should I choose? Well, then my question is, what do you want? Whose story is it? Who do you want to be in the driver's seat? Well, Sheree, which chapter in nonfiction, which chapter should go first? Well, how'd you learn the lessons that you're going to teach? Did you do step 1 before step 2, or are they in reverse order? So there's always questions. There's always work to be done. Writing is never, I'm going to just put it on the paper and just hope that it makes sense. It is never that. Writing is in stages. You got pre-writing, the actual writing, and then revision. So I want you to understand, like, this is serious work in this space, especially if you are someone who wants your book to do well. And I don't know about you, but I don't meet a lot of writers who want to subject themselves to doing this work and then just want it to flop, and then just want the manuscript to go nowhere or be a dud. You want to be successful in this. Fiction writers want to be known for writing very good stories, for writing some sexy stuff. Nonfiction writers, you want to change people's lives. Right? You want to bless other people and help them make the difference that they're out to make, right? That is the ultimate goal in this conversation. So in order to do that, there is work required. And I love being able to do the work. But so this morning, just wanted to jump in and share with you some of the behind the scenes, right? Some of the behind the scenes in running a writing and publishing company. We're running a writing coaching business. Right. So somebody got to coach the writers, right? Somebody has to coach them to success. Someone has to be able to help you see where you're making these mistakes and show you how not to make them. How do we show you what these other opportunities are, right? When I like to say that we're window makers, right? We show you other opportunities that you have, what's available to you as a writer, but that's based on what you want. Right? What is your ultimate goal? What do you want this book to say? What do you want this book to do? Whose life do you want this book to change? So you have to ask yourself these questions first, right? Fully understanding what's required of you as you show up as this boss, as you show up as this influential person who wants to change lives. What is really required of you? Because we're showing up, right? Myself, my team, the editors, we're showing up every single day and spending hours of time discussing, mapping out, planning, questioning, structuring, rewriting, reevaluating, rebuilding, all of this in order to get you a badass product in the end. I just want y'all to marinate on that for a minute, because it is not a game. So if you're looking to write or work with somebody, I suggest you work with an editor. Like, that's my high suggestion in this capacity, is that you work with a writing coach. Don't just work with a publishing company. Don't just work with somebody that's going to take your manuscript and whatever you have there, they're going to run it through Grammarly, give you a grammar edit, and slap it up on Amazon. Your content is still going to be all over the place. Your manuscript is still not going to be effective, right? If you don't take these things into consideration. So do not, right? That is my advice to you as much as I can this morning. If you have not finished writing your book, if you have not had your book edited professionally at some point in time, you're not ready for publishing. You're not. You're not ready to start marketing your book. There's so much more in your piece. Right now, one of the projects that we're working on is someone who came in with a manuscript. She didn't start with us from the beginning, right? She put her blood, sweat, and tears into creating this baby. But because she didn't begin with the end in mind, she didn't begin with someone asking her certain critical questions or helping her structure her story, that thing it's all over the place. No shade, no lie, but the reality of it is the story is all over the place. It goes back and forth. There's no transitions. I don't understand how we got from this stage in your life to this stage in your life. I don't know who this person is that you introduced. We don't know where you are. We don't know how you got there. There's so many holes in this manuscript that we hold up. We got to pause. In order to get her where she wants to go. We have to pause, pump the brakes, and start from square one. What do you want, sis? What do you want? What is your ultimate goal? What are you after? And who are the people that you're trying to help by sharing your story, by sharing your message? Let's figure out what you want, what they want and need as a nonfiction writer. What does your audience need? If you are writing a book about your life and you have not put into there considering and understanding what your audience is looking for, and the expectation is that they're going to read your book and somehow magically take away everything that you learned and you knew, that's malarkey. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. And so we have writers who come in and they've done their manuscript already. And we have to, for lack of better words, butcher that baby. We got to tear it up. Ain't no ounce of doubt about it. We have to tear up that manuscript. We got to pick it apart, move it around, reevaluate. There's so much work. So don't take it lightly, right? When people are like, oh, you're working. I'm working. I'm in it, hours in it, moving sentences around, trying to understand what this whole paragraph was saying. We don't need this whole paragraph. Let's sum this all up. Boom, boom, boom. Let's make this quick, concise, clear, easy to consume. So understand that this is a part of the process. Allow yourself to be open to the process, right? Because when I say we, I'm talking about editors. I'm talking about my team, the literary bays. That's my BAE, my badass editors. We are in it. We're in the trenches, asking you, picking, questioning, examining, exploring, doing deep dives. Good morning. Good morning. Again, as you join in, make sure that you say good morning. And if this is you, right? If you're hanging out this morning or if you're catching it on the replay and this is you, ask the question, right? This is what I tell my writers all the time. Ask the question. If you are struggling with your manuscript, if you don't know whether your story should start here, there, everywhere, what point of view you're in, ask the question. Really, right? This is what editors do. Lean into a support team. Because, good morning, beautiful, because we're built for it, right? When I look at my team and I look at the knowledge and the talent and the skill that is a part of this literary team, you'd be a fool to be in this space and not tap in and not get your questions answered. So submit to the process, because behind the scenes, we are at steady and consistent work in helping you develop these manuscripts. So just a little bit of advice before I go this morning for my fiction writers. Let's start with fiction, right? Good morning. If you're hanging out this morning, make sure that you shout out good morning. And if you're hanging out, also tell me if you're writing fiction or nonfiction, right? So fiction, just so we're clear, fiction is fake. That's how I want you to remember it from here on out, the F and the F. Fiction is fake. Fiction is the phony. Fiction is the make-believe. Fiction is the characters. It's you creating things that do not exist. Though it may be based on real life things, fiction is the fake stuff, okay? So fiction is that. You're making it up. Characters is novels. Fiction is novels. If you're writing a fiction book, you're writing a novel, okay? So For my fiction writers, things I need you to understand before you go any further into your manuscript. Who's telling the story, right? Who is telling the story? Who's moving us through? Who's guiding the reader through this process, right? So fiction writers, first point, who's telling the story? Is it your main character? Is it a voice above your main character? Does that voice know only what your main character knows? Or do they know what every character in the book understands and knows? You have to define that early on, right? And that's based on what you want. Do you want this story to be about everybody? Do you want to know about everybody's thinkings, movings, breathings, backstory, all of this? Do we need that information, right? And that determines your point of view, right? So who is telling the story is your point of view. That's your first one for fiction. Establish your point of view. And then you need to develop these characters. Please, please, please. I'm asking, I'm begging you, develop these characters. Do not come with these characters who all sound the same, who all look the same, who all think the same, who all talk the same. That is not, that doesn't do your book any justice, right? It collapses individuals and people into this bucket, and they just become this melting pot of blandness. We don't have anything that makes them better, makes them exciting. And I remember coming to speak at a high school a few years ago, and I had a group of boys at my table. We were rotating tables, and I had a group of boys, all high school boys, maybe about juniors or seniors, and they're looking at me like, "What you want, writer lady?" And I'm like, listen, let me explain to you why it's important for you to do what you're called to do, right? So for me, it's important that I do what I'm called to do so that I can be a voice for you, right? You, Black men, young brothers. Because if somebody comes in and they try to capture you all, they're going to lump you all into one category, right? Even though y'all are very similar, y'all go to the same school, y'all may like the same girl, some of y'all may ride the same bus home from school, some of y'all got the same friends. Those are some similarities. But if you are individuals, which you are, then what you like ain't what he liked. The girl or the parent upbringing that you had isn't what he had. His beliefs system isn't what you believe. If he liked cats more than dogs, there's certain individual aspects of everybody that we need to have a handle on as writers if we're going to portray them, if we're going to do them justice and share that information with the world. So you have to make sure as a fiction writer that your characters are well developed, that they have their own voice, that Sean don't sound like Shannon. They are not the same people. They may be related, whatever, but they are not the same person. Okay? So fiction writers, 2 things for you this morning. Who is telling your story? And are your characters well developed? The third one I'll give you is plot. You have to have a strong plot. Does your story make sense? Is it moving us progressively through something, some idea, some moment, some inciting incident? Are we going in a clear direction, or are we just getting random scenes that just pop up here, and then she went there, and then they did this, and then she met this man? And then, like, is that what's happening in your book, or is there a plot that's actually driving us forward? What's the plot? What is the storyline? So point of view, character, storyline, or plot, however you choose to determine them, get to work in figuring those things out if you're writing fiction. Because baby, when I say we spend a tremendous amount of time asking these questions, who's telling the story? What's up with these characters? And where the hell is this story going? Right? That's the work that myself and the team we're doing as editors in these fiction manuscripts. And then if we switch over to nonfiction, I need to know, what are you teaching me? What are you teaching me? What are you sharing with me that's going to change my life? And then how are you going to share it? And then you need to know your audience. So the first part is you. What matters most to you? What do you want to teach? What do you want to share? And then who needs to hear it? And what do they need to hear specifically? What do they need to hear? Do they need a win in a certain area of their life? Do they need a breakthrough? Do they need revelation? What do they need to hear? That's what you need to get into as a nonfiction writer. Research. So it starts with you, what you want, what you're trying to teach, then what your audience needs to know and understand. So you have to build that into your manuscript. If you don't do these things, Fiction and nonfiction. If you don't do what I just described in fiction, if you don't do these things in nonfiction, understanding what you want, understanding what your audience needs, and then the third part is stringing it all together so that it makes organized sense. If you don't have these pieces in fiction and nonfiction, you're not going to like me when I edit your manuscript. You're going to have big beef with me. Period. You're going to be really upset. You're going to be like, Sheree, all of my business. She done ripped my manuscript in half. Yup, I sure did. I tore it up. I tore that thing up. I sure did. I absolutely did. And now let's make it better. And now let's make it good. Let's make it worth the reader's while to get into this and grow from this. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys as you're hanging out with me this morning? Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for all the hearts and the love. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a great morning. Again, say good morning as you join in. Take a moment if you're hanging out on Facebook to share the video. If you're hanging out on the replay, make sure you hit hashtag replay. And those of you who are hanging out on IG this morning, I hope that this makes clear sense to you in this writing space. I don't want to have to kick your butt all the time, right? As an editor, but I know that's part of my job. I know that's part of what we do here. So if you want to win as a writer, take it from someone who's been editing manuscripts for the last 20 years. I've been at this for a long time. I've seen every type of writing that there possibly could be and have supported most writers in these spaces. There's a means to an end. There's a way to get to the finish line. And we work behind the scenes consistently and diligently helping you get there. So don't think that you have to wait until you're finished with your manuscript to ask for help. Don't think that you have to struggle alone in writing your book. You can get the help that you need. Yes, you can. You can get the support that you need. You can get the assistance that you need. You can get the feedback and critique that you need. You can get the clear direction that you need. Yes, you can. You don't have to do this by yourself and then wait till the end and go, what the hell? What the hell now? What do I do now? What do I do? What do I do? And then how do I market this? Because that's the hard part, right? If you don't have in nonfiction, if you don't have clear lessons, if you don't have a clear audience, if you don't have a clear direction in your manuscript, you can't market it. Excuse me, period. You can't. You can't market it because you don't even know what the hell you're saying. You don't know what you're saying and who you're saying it to. So how you going to market it? How you going to brand it? You can't. And if in fiction, if you don't understand what your characters are doing and the type of characters that you have and the type of story that you're writing, then you can't sell it. You can't build the hype up. You can't make it sexy and salacious for me to be interested in because what's the story? What's the plot? It's just a bunch of random scenes of people meeting and having sex. Like, what is the actual driving force behind your fiction novel that would make a fiction writer want to go, oh, I need that one. Oh, that sound good. Oh, that love triangle or whatever you put in here. Oh, that sound good. I want to get into that. Right? You got to know these things. Okay. So take this from me as my insight for you this morning, as an editor, as a writing coach, as a ghostwriter, as someone who writes for a living and writes every day. First of all, writing is not a joke. It's not a joke. I think people think it's a joke because you could just publish whatever and put it up on Amazon. And a lot of those books be trash. Straight trash. Beautifully put together, but booty. You ain't learned nothing. I remember y'all, I chalked this book. My daughter was like, well, Jesus, I was at the pool and someone had asked me to read this book to give them some feedback. And I got to like chapter 2, which was only on page 6. I threw the damn book. I'm not reading this. I'm not reading this because you didn't do no work to prepare, like nothing. You just wrote what was in your mind. And now I'm supposed to try to make sense of this. I'm not reading this. I'm done. I'm not wasting the energy. And that's how your readers will be. I'm not reading this. Out of here. Put it down. Dismissed. Gotta go. That's not what you want, right? You want people to, you want people to have a certain kind of impact, right? I mean, you want to have a certain kind of impact on people. You want them to love your writing. You want them to be looking for your next release. You want them to be ready for when you drop something, right? That's what you want. And you want to be a good storyteller, especially for my fiction writers. And in nonfiction, you have to be a good storyteller, period. Pulitzer Prize winning writers, right, who write nonfiction, they're good storytellers. They know how to write. So let people who know how to write teach you how to write. Because baby, when I say we spend a lot of time We spend a lot of time. I'm not complaining about it. I love it. I'm excited about it. Again, what did I say? We got 14 projects. 14 projects going on. So sometimes my brain be mush. Okay, mush, because we got to go down the checklist. All right, what's she doing? Where's she at? All right, she good. Well, did she turn in her chapter yet? No, she didn't turn her chapter. Send her email by Friday. All right, cool. How's he doing? He ain't do that research on that character yet? Tell him he can't write yet. Nope, put him on pause. Matter of fact, send him an email, tell him I'm looking for him. Cool, no problem. Next person, where's she at? She doing good? Okay, did she reevaluate those chapters? Did she restructure those things? She did? All right, cool. Let me take a look. Boom, she doing good. All right, moving. Next person, where we at? Like, it is literally like boom, boom, boom. We're moving down the line. We're checking all. And so what I'm teaching you, right, what I'm sharing with you is that these are the checks and balances. These are the systems that we use. This information that I'm sharing with you are all the check boxes that writers have to check off before they progress. So I'm not sharing it with you because I think it's funny and I just want to, be in your face this morning. I'm sharing it with you because these are the exact things that allow myself and my team to work with the writers that we've worked with and produce the results that we've produced. So we don't just pull it out of thin air. Right? We're just not making this up. No, these are the checks and balances. So we got, boom, that's her 2. All right, boom, her 1, she starts on September 1st. So I'm gonna meet with her, go through her outline, prep her for her bag. Boom, she ready to go. Next one, cool. We got this client. We're gonna move through her chapters because she got to edit. That we got to go through. We got to reorganize this. Boom, she's done. Next one, ghostwrite. We're on the last chapter. Boom, that's done. Like it is literally boom, 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 boom. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. So when you just jump up and be like, I'm going to tell my story. And you just go for broke. And you just going and going and going. We get that and be like, whew. Okay. Let me bust this bubble, bust this bubble, bust this bubble. And let me give you this checklist so you can see what the hell you're supposed to be doing. What are you supposed to be doing? So don't take it lightly, right? The investment in an editor. Do not take it lightly, right? Make sure that you are investing in the right type of editor, somebody that's going to be fully invested in you, your success, the overall wins of your project. Make sure that you are connected with somebody who's going to give you answers and that's going to give you clarity. That's what you're looking for, right? That is what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody who knows what the hell they are doing. If you're working with the editor and you can't get your questions answered, run. Gotta go. If you can't figure out, if you're trying to figure out how to structure this and they don't give you some clear suggestions or some things like that you can and cannot do, get up out of there quickly, expeditiously, post haste, move very, very fast. Okay. I don't know how else you want me to say it. Move very fast because your editor should be knowledgeable. So as knowledgeable as I am, I train my team consistently, but they're also responsible for the knowledge. They're also responsible for going to do some additional research. When we're looking at theme and plot and structure, right? It's not just me pulling it from my years of experience, but being in relationship with a team of editors, my bays, y'all know how I feel about my bays, who are willing to do the work for you as well, who are willing to go do a little research. It looks like he's struggling with this character, but there's a character similar in this other book, and I think I should give him, yes, you should. You should give him that as a reference or make him check out this movie. Or do this bit of research, get his brain going, and then ask him questions. As soon as he starts thinking about it, just boom, 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 ask questions, so we can get that out of you. So we can get you producing, so we can get you writing and publish, because that's the goal. That's the goal. Okay? Good morning. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Got to go. You got to run. That's what I'm saying. You got to get up out of there if your editor is not that kind of person. So just know that behind the scenes, it's real. It's real work. And this is just the writing, y'all. This is just the writing, right? We're just in this conversation this morning. We're just talking writing. We are not talking marketing, branding, none of this. We're talking just the actual writing that has to take place. That's it. We're talking writing, right? And so those are the things I want you to consider for each capacity, for each genre, fiction, nonfiction, right? For fiction, you got your point of view, your characterization, and your plot. Kill those. Knock them out the park. Be super confident. And even if you're not, partner with an editor where you can ask those questions. And in fiction, nonfiction, remember the difference. Fiction is fake. Nonfiction is the real. That's your life, your story, right? We need to know, what lessons are you teaching? What does your audience need to know? They got to know it. got to have it, can't live without it. They can't breathe without it. Their life is going to be in shambles without it. It's going to all fall apart. They're going to keep repeating these same cycles without it. This is what they need to know concerning your topic, right? And then how are you going to present that information? What's the structure? What's the flow? So those are the things I want you to consider, because again, as an editor, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. And we're checking every box for all 14 projects on the table right now. We're going through each one. Where they at? Fiction over here, nonfiction over here. They good? She good? He not good? Make them do this. All right, what about this person? Where they at? They need some research? Boom, have them do this. It is, y'all, I love it. I love it. It excites me. Again, I'm thankful to have a team who is just in it, and they love the writers, right? And what happens is then the writers fall in love with the bays. I tell especially my male writers all the time, I'm like, listen, if you got a wife or a girlfriend, tell her you got a bae. You got to tell her. You got to let her know. She can meet your bae and everything, but you got to let her know that you have a bae, because your bae going to be on your phone. Your bae going to be texting you. She going to be checking for you. She going to be looking for you. She going to be expecting things from you. There's deadlines. Your bae is going to want you to show up. And what happens is the writers, this is what I love so much, y'all. Give me goosebumps. What happens is people aren't supported like this very often. So the moment that you find that you've got somebody who gives a damn about your book and your baby and is knowledgeable about your book and your baby, they be like, me and you will never part, la-dee. They be in love, right? Every time people who have worked with some of the team, they get on the office, they're like, I love my bae. Yes, you should, because your bae loves you. He or she is invested in you. So much so that we got a whole system in place. It's a whole system in place, right? We got all the checks and balances in place. You're going to work with your bae. Your bae is going to report to our senior editor. Your senior editor is going to report to me. That's how we're going to run this. And so somebody's always like this. What they doing? What's she doing? What he doing? What's happening? Are they good? He good? She good? What they doing at chapter 2? All right, let me see. All right, go ahead. And that's how it is. I'm not playing. I'm so serious. It's like, hold up. What's happening here? And they crack up because like, Trey, you be mother hen and stuff. I do. What's happening? Let me see. All right, cool. We good to go? She good to go? Cool. She not good to go? Let's get her on a call. Let's have a meeting. Because we need to go. We're not trying to be here a year from now, right? We're not trying to be here 7, 8, 9 months from now. You singing, oh my gosh, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I didn't. I was dragging my feet. I ain't do no work. No. We're trying to get to the finish line. We're trying to get these books written and published. So we be all in it. Excuse me. I got a question. And I have 1,000 questions. I tell people that all the time. I'm as nosy as they come. I am inquisitive. I need to know. And I think about Rick Ross, right? I think about Rick Ross and his last book project. And he was talking about the ghostwriter that he worked with. And he said that man asked him more questions than the feds. He said, I thought I was going to jail. That man interrogated him, asked him 1,000,000 questions. Then what? And where'd you go? How'd you feel? And what did this look like? And did it like run it down? I was like, yeah. As a ghostwriter, I'm like, that's what you do. You ask all the questions and then you ask them again to make sure it made sense the second time. Yes, you ask the questions. And so every day my team and I are asking critical questions. We're asking a lot of you. We are asking a lot of you as a writer. There's no ounce of doubt about it. But we're giving a lot too, because your goal is huge. Your goal is life-changing. So you can't come into this equation and maybe possibly shoulda, coulda, woulda it, right? Like that's not how it works. So understand that we are at work behind the scenes for you, okay? And that we love you. We're after the same things that you're after. Your editor should be your biggest fan. Your absolute biggest fan. They should know your book better than you know your book. That's one thing too that I love. When our fiction writers, we do have like recaps and stuff. They're like, he knew everything about my book and all the character and the plot. Yup, he supposed to. Your bae is supposed to. Your editor is supposed to know so that we can catch it. Right? If I asked a writer a question on a call with her and her bae, and before she could answer, he was like, no, because in chapter 7, you have such and such. And she was like, I do. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You can't jump ahead because you already did this and your editor knows that you did this. So he was like, you can't do that. She was like, oh, wow. You know my stuff. Show do. Show know it. In and out, upside down and sideways. Now let's get this baby done so we can get it to print. You can come out here busting out the door and changing lives. Okay? Okay. So I hope that that makes sense for you guys this morning. Just a couple things on my mind, some thoughts that I've been thinking about what it really takes behind the scenes, some real deal every day. Why I'm not always on live, why I'm not always, front and center in the camera is because behind the scenes stuff be getting done and it's real work. So I want you to take those things into consideration as fiction writers and as nonfiction writers. We got 3 steps for each of you, for each genre. So apply those pieces. Apply that information, type them down in the chat, confirm that you understand, exactly what it is that I'm sharing with you so that you can go forward and make a huge difference in your life and the lives of other people, especially if you're writing nonfiction. You're out here to change. You're out here to change the game. You're out here to make people's lives better. So don't half step it. Don't BS it. Get to it and do it right because we're working and we're willing to work with you, but you got to show up. So I hope that that was helpful for you this morning. Hope that blessed your life this morning. I hope that you are continuously writing and doing the good work that you've been called to do. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, beautiful people. I hope that that makes good sense for you this morning. But I want you to have an awesome day. I want you to kick booty and take names, right? Just knock stuff off your list as you should. Be as amazing as you've been called to be. And my team and I are here to support you along your writing journey should you be called and led this way. Okay? All right, gang. Well, I love and appreciate you all. Have an amazing Wednesday. I got plenty of, 14 projects. So I have plenty of work on my desk, lots to do, and we're going to get it done. And we still got more team training. We still got research to do. We still got systems to put in place. Like there's still so much to running this business. Right. So running this business is not for the faint of heart. So take it seriously when you make the commitment because we take it very seriously as well. All right. I love you guys. Have an amazing Wednesday and I will catch up with you guys again very soon. All right. Peace out, folks. Have a wonderful afternoon or a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you all for hanging out with me this morning. And if you have questions, I'll share that one more time. Ask the question. Right? Ask the question this morning, ask the question in my DMs. If you're struggling and you need that kind of support, or you don't know what to do with your writing, or you're looking for an editor, or you don't know how to find an editor, or whatever that is, I'm thankful that I get to live this literary life, but that also means that I'm supposed to help those who are brand new to this thing. So get the help that you need by sending me a DM, and I can answer your questions. Okay? All right, gang, have a wonderful Wednesday. I appreciate you all, and I will catch up with you guys again real soon.